Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I want her, but my heart says, no! I've got an email here from a viewer. This particular guy I did one phone coaching session with, I think about 2 months back, if I'm not mistaken. And then I did a video for him as a follow-up about a week or two after that, because this particular girl started calling him, texting him, and this guy, what you're going to see here is that this guy went from needy, super pleaser, chasing, stalking, she's blowing him off, jerking around, canceling dates, not wanting anything to do with him, to now he's dating other women, hooking up with other women, and he's kind of, I don't know if I really want this girl back now. And it's just amazing to see the transformation in a guy when he really starts to own this stuff and get his power back. And so I'm excited for him, because it's a great place to be as a man, because it's natural. It feels like your natural essence when you're in this place, because obviously you can act appropriately and get the responses that you want. So I got a quote I'd like to read before we get into his email. And it says, when we finally start to see ourselves as a high-value person, we can then become comfortable standing up for ourselves and no longer tolerating flaky and inconsistent behavior from those who mistreat us or take us for granted. In order to feel more freer to be yourself than you've ever felt in your life, you've got to push through your greatest fears and do what scares you most. When you are finally willing to do without relationships, opportunities, people, careers, jobs, circumstances, etc., that don't fully support and honor you being you, only then will the universe and those who previously took you for granted or held back from you start treating you with value, respect, and effortlessly giving you what you want and deserve. It's only once we are willing to walk away and do without that the universe opens up to us to manifest our greatest dreams and desires. Lao Tzu's got this great quote that I love, and it says, when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world opens up to you. So let's get into this guy's email. He says, hey coach, it's the office relationship guy, and we had a phone coaching session some time back. I wrote to you a few weeks back, and you replied via the video newsletter, see yourself as a high value person. So that in the video, I say the article on my website that's going to accompany this video, I'll actually have a link so you can go back and watch that original video and see what I told him to do. And obviously this is a follow-up to that, with him having applied what I told him to do in that video. So he says, firstly, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the confidence to be my own man and motivating me to get on the path to become a 3% man. You are Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Diego Maradona. Well, I don't know who those players are, but I think that Cristiano Ronaldo, isn't he like a soccer player? He says, so I appreciate the compliment, because obviously he's playing at a pretty high level. He says, when it comes to the dating and relationship advice. He says, after my ex's blowing up my phone saga, when I was on a date with some other chick, she didn't contact me for about 12 days. I was going about my life and didn't see any attention-seeking stunts from her. You may have heard me say that the quickest way to get someone else's attention is to remove yours. And it's just amazing when you go from being needy and chasing and acting like you're not worthy and treating a woman like a celebrity to just completely stopping and moving in the other direction and going to open yourself up to new possibilities and new options, how that can have an effect, as long as there's some level of attraction left on her part towards you. He says, one day she called me, and in an emotional state she asked, why am I ignoring her and never contacting her? Because obviously you changed your behavior, and she's realized that you're putting zero effort into this, because you realize it takes two to make the relationship work, and she wasn't making any effort, and she was treating you like you were water basically, or just another dude. And then of course when you saw that you didn't like how she was treating you, you turned around, you went the other way, and you went about your life, and just had a take it or leave it kind of attitude. It's like you let go of the attachment that you had to her, and that's what you have to do in order to get her or to re-attract her. So after she says, why am I ignoring her? and never contact her. And I told her I'm very busy these days. I kept the conversation very light and has always changed the topic. Yeah, because whoever is asking the questions is the one leading the conversation. He says, then she said she would feel very good if I would contact her occasionally. In other words, please start chasing me again so I can feel like you're a weak bitch and then toss you aside, and I can feel better about myself because I was the one that rejected you. He says, I was about to end the conversation by saying, keep in touch, and she asked me out for lunch. 1 month, this is 1 month after the breakup. He puts with a couple exclamation points. So he's pretty excited about that. Yeah, because he had, even in the past, what had happened was he kept out, even though she was reaching out to him, he asked her to do something. She's like, no, I can't. She had an excuse. So he stopped asking. And so he's completely stopped all forward movement. And the only way they're going to get together, and she realized this, is that she's going to have to start making an effort. And obviously because she still cared somewhat, she starts making the effort because now she realizes she really is going to lose you if she doesn't start making an effort. He says, and there was one time when we met, she used to jerk me around by coming very late when we were together because I trained her to be this way. He says, I kept the conversation very light, joked and bantered, and flirted with her like it was our first date. Very smart. Good job. That is textbook. He says, then, with wet eyes, she told me that some relationships should not be left like this. I had a girlfriend, I wrote about her in my book, and I was actually out on a date with this really beautiful girl. And I ended up running into this other girl who I had screwed up with. I ran into her boss. And so, of course, she's like, oh my God, you're not going to... I saw Corey out last night. He was just this beautiful girl. And so, like, 9 o'clock the next morning, I was up all night with this girl. We had a fucking blast. She calls me up after acting like she could have given two shits about me. And she realized I'm out with another really hot girl. And it doesn't affect me. And, I mean, obviously I cared about her, but hey, I had other options. And so what she said to me was, she said, well, before you make any decisions, make sure you consider all of your options and your possibilities. And so in other words, what she was saying was, hey, before you decide to get serious with this other girl, I'm still here. I mean, it was just night and day change after that happened. He says, I smiled and told her, honey, let's forget the past and focus on having fun. Smart. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Be in the present moment. And when you bring it right to the present moment, that's the only thing that matters because it's the only moment that exists. Can't do anything about the past, can't do anything about the future because they don't exist. He says, of late, I've seen that she passes by my seat in the office to get my attention, and probably because I sit next to a very attractive woman. Probably, so you got a lot of good things working for you here, bro. He says, for the next few days, she used to wave to me and give me a 1,000-watt smile when we used to cross each other as if I'm Brad Pitt, LOL. Nice job, dude. You're a catch. See, you start to perceive yourself as a catch, and you start acting like a guy who perceives himself as a catch, and it's amazing. You start acting like a high-value person, she has no choice but to treat you like one. So he says, 5 days after the date, she called me up and annoyingly said, you see me and then ignore me as if I'm not there. At least I deserve a smile. He says, this thing irritated me, but I kept the conversation light and tried to change the topic. See, it's like she's now acting like you were acting, and it's obviously turning you off and irritating you, and now you get to see the flip side of that, and because it's the role is completely flipped now. She's now acting like an emotionally upset woman, and what you're doing is creating attraction in her towards you. And see, when you act that way, it totally turns a woman off. So he says, this irritated me and I kept the conversation light and tried to change the topic, but she brought it up again and I asked her what that means. He says, Coach, please suggest a better comeback on this. So she says, okay, let me go back to this. So she says, you see me and then ignore me as if I'm not there, and I deserve at least a smile. I was like, baby, I think you're gorgeous. I've always thought you're gorgeous. Anyways, I got to run. It was nice chatting with you. Keep in touch, and then you get off the phone. Because you want her to start bringing up getting together at that point. You probably could get away with asking her to do something, but she's already brought it up one time, and so you get her in the point where she's really start to chase and reach out to you, and that's the best place to be. So he says, I wanted to ask her out, but I didn't because I didn't like her needy behavior and told her to keep in touch. Was that a fuck up on my part? Well, let's see. He says, a week later, she texted me in the night to know how I was. Well, obviously it wasn't a fuck up because she's still chasing you. And if she's chasing you, she's not kicking you to the curb. So he says, and called me. So she texted you and you didn't respond. And then an hour late after she sent the text, she called him and he didn't reply back that night. The next day, which was a Tuesday, I texted her back and she asked me out for coffee during the office break. See? So obviously you did the right thing because she's still asking you out. Because she realized now the shoe's on the other foot. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And so now she's starting to value you and appreciate you. And now she's asking you out. So he says, I told her I have a better idea and asked her out on Sunday and told her that it'd be a surprise and told her to trust me and that she'll enjoy her ass off after she asked me again and again about where am I taking her. See? Women love mystery. You're fucking doing great, bro. So he says, later that evening, she saw me coming back to the office floor with the woman who sits next to me, the hot one, obviously, after a break when she was standing next to the guy she was leading on. She used to do this to make me jealous when we were together. Yeah, and you used to come unglued before, and now you don't care because you're walking around with a hot girl in the office. So he says, and she gave a very jealous look and said, how could you be with some other chick? And when a girl says that, it's like, baby, come on, nobody's better than you. Why don't you come over and give me a little sugar and kiss me? That's how you respond to that. Because she's unsure of herself. Remember, women want to feel more special than all the rest of the girls, and that's how you do that in that moment. And then you make a date. So he says, I saw her text after 5 minutes, and it said, let's meet up for coffee. We met and had a great time, and she again asked what we'd be doing on Sunday, and I again told her. So now you've already got a date set with her, and now she's asking you out for coffee even before that. That's a good sign, dude. So he says, she again asked about what they're going to do Sunday. And again he told her, honey, hold your horses because on Sunday you'll have lots of fun. To which she replied, to how many other women would you give surprises? Only the ones I really like. That's what I'd say to that. And obviously you're pretty special, so that's why you're going to have to wait for the surprise. So he says, after that she started to get emotional. I asked her what's on her mind. She said that she loves me and wrote on a napkin when I ended the date, I still love you a lot. Huh, look at that. So he says, when we were walking back to the office, she kept saying, you don't have to go back so early, so she didn't want the date to end, leaving her wanting more, just like they do in the movies. It's like the cliffhanger. So he says, during the date, she was reading and texting back frequently. What do you make of this? Was it to provoke me and make me jealous? Dude, she's chasing you. That's what you wanted. That's what you hired me for, and now that's what you got. So he says, but coach, I have a very hard decision to make, whether to get back with her and heat up leftovers, because this woman still does things that irritate me, like spend a lot of time with other guys in the office. Well, it's like she's not your girlfriend, bro, and you're hooking up with her chicks. It's none of your business what she does. And she doesn't even have 40% of the qualities that I would want my next great love of my life to have. Or should I just blow her off and find a woman who knocks my socks off? He says, my heart screams to not be with her, and it's at war with my emotions. Well, you know what? You've got a choice to make. So just keep hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, and let her continue to come and chase you and pursue you and make dates, and keep your options open. You're in the driver's seat. I can't make the decision for you, dude, but I can give you the power back, which you obviously have now. So it's up to you, my young Padawan, what you want to do with it. So if you'd like to get my help personally, go to my website, click the products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and book a paid phone coaching or Skype session if you're international, and follow the instructions, and I will talk to you soon.